Okay, are we recording? Yes, we are recording. Okay, this is another repair video of a Kawai CN470, 2002 model, or at least that's when it was new when we got it. This is the second video. The last one was 3.5 years ago, approximately March of 2015, so it's held up well from the last repair. And this is October 1st, Monday, October 1st, 2018, so about 3.5 years ago, give or take. In the last video, I did a weather stripping repair of the back rail, what was the back rail felt. And so people can refer to that video on my YouTube channel, YouTube/Steve Hacker. The felt had disintegrated, and unqualified technicians came in several times and replaced just little plugs here and there. And then I did the whole thing with weather stripping, 1/8 inch, 3/4 inch, 1/8 inch thick, 3/4 inch wide, 1/8 inch thick, peel off backing weather stripping. That video really blew up and got a lot of attention and a lot of questions, that now that I'm having to go back in the piano 3.5 years later, which I consider to be really good considering how badly this piano is regularly abused. I think this is going to be a much longer video because I'm actually going to do some of the repair work. And show some things that I didn't show last time, so it's, might as well make use of having to open up the piano anyway. So anyway, this is the Swamp Gravy piano. This is at Cotton Hall Theater in Colquitt, Georgia, Colquitt. I have played this piano for 16 years, over 16 years. Prior to that, it was acoustic pianos, but 16 years with this one, with the Swamp Gravy play. Swamp Gravy, www.swampgravy.com. Swamp Gravy is the official folk life play of the state of Georgia. And every fall, we have a new show, a new theme, with all new original music. And I play all that music and co-write and arrange it and whatnot. So anyway, first thing, let's take this piano apart to show where, what we got to do to get inside it. I've already taken out all the screws. It's just thrown together because I've actually already done most of the repair work. I'm just, I've left a key or two to show how I do it because this is pretty common on these. So there's a row of screws back here, Phillips screws, and once you take those loose, this just lifts straight off, no problem. So I've saved you that bit of waiting for me, okay? After that, there's, I've loosened up the sides here. The sides are real loose. And so this cover uses these gear mechanisms. It slides back and forth. This piano's been really abused, by the way. It should be in much better shape, but it's been on the road many times. It gets moved around Cotton Hall Theater. It's a bad environment to start with. And so this rotation bar here has actually been bent. I've actually had to straighten that out several times. But anyway, it works now. And so I've loosened these up. So all I'm doing is I'm having to just pull out on the side to get these little pins loose from the groove. So that's what comes out next. And that slides loose. Pull it out over here, and then that'll just lift right out. Set that off to the side. I would never treat my piano the way this one's been treated, but it's not mine. It's just the one I play for the Swamp Gravy shows. Okay, this control surface right here, it's got control cable here. And then the main power switch over here, there's cables. I try not to pull these loose every now and then. As many times as I've gone into this, when I pull this loose, sometimes these cables come loose, but not always. There's two screws here, 2 screws here. They're not lined up anymore because I really didn't put it back together all the way. This is just for demonstration purposes. 2 screws here, 2 screws, and 2 screws. And then this just lifts out of the way. Do all this, that came unplugged. Do all this with one Phillips screwdriver. That's just a multi-cable right there, like a small computer power supply. So I'm going to plug that back in because we're going to need that here in a moment. And I'm just going to set this up out of the way because I'm going to have to get down into the keys. I'm actually going to remove keys. Okay, to remove the keys, also, let me check and make sure we're still recording here. I've got this on a music stand up on the desk. Bad shadowing. Sorry for the bad light. I'll add some light here in just a minute when I get going. Anyway, so this front rail, again, screws across the bottom here. I've just got one finger tight in here. I'm going to undo that one. And this comes loose. There's the wire for the power light, the power LED that tells you the power's on. I'm going to unplug that. And that comes undone from right there. And so now we have all the access we need to have. You see right here, probably not from the angle that you're on, but there's a key that's dropped down here. And there's a bunch, and I've already repaired most of them. So I'm going to turn on a light here and attempt to bring this down where we can see what's going on. Let's see how we do this. That'll do for now. I'm doing this just on a cheesy iPhone, which I can't stand. But let's get close up now. Yeah, we got things falling. The clamp, I'm going to set you down for a second. The clamp is gone from this lamp. Just grabbed the makeshift tools the best I could. Alright. So let's repair this D. Key number 54. You can see where I've numbered these from past repairs. And to, again, I refer you to my previous YouTube video. You can just search Steve Hacker, Kawai CN470 repair or something like that. But just as a reminder, I'll show the weather stripping. It's kind of hard to see. Let me get a screwdriver to point with. But there it is. So here comes the screwdriver blade. And right down in between you can see the white. I can get down in there. See that I'm tapping on? That's 3/4 inch wide. It looks like 2 pieces, but it's 1 piece. It's just like split in half. 3/4 inch wide, 1/8 inch thick weather stripping. And again, that's talked about in the last video from 3.5 years ago. And it's just a peel off backing, and it just stuck on. It fit perfectly. I didn't have to do any cutting except for the length, of course, but no width cutting. A lot of people ask that. And there's your answer to that. Okay, here's another question that a lot of people asked. What is the white grease? Okay, I've repaired my piano and I got to put it back together, but I see all this white grease. Like, this is real hard to do holding the phone, but this stuff gets everywhere. That white grease is just simply white lithium grease. Hardware store, Home Depot, auto parts store variety. That's all that is. As recommended, prop my phone here for a second. As recommended by Kawai, by the service manager. I said, what's the white grease? 3.5 years ago. He said, just plain old hardware store, auto parts store, lithium grease. So that's what I got. All right, so we're going to repair this D. See how it's dropped down? That actually has a big effect on the response. See if I can turn this on without arcing anything. is on. So, you know, if I go, that key just doesn't want to, it's not as bad as, some of the others didn't work at all, okay? But this is just, it boils down to a pad, just a little tiny pad that controls the way that key responds. And I got a hold of Kawai, and very cheaply they sent me a pack of these. Just peel off backing little pads, a whole bunch of them, to do a whole bunch of repairs. And I'll show you how that goes in a minute again. It's really hard with one hand. But we have to get the key out. So we're going to take this D out. So unfortunately, this whole section cover has to come off here. It's only 2 screws, but it's still a little bit aggravating. So let's see if I can prop up this phone so that I can do the work more efficiently. I don't know how that's going to go. Let's see. That'll do for now. If I can get something to hold it. That should be interesting. It's just temporary. So I'm taking off this metal cover here, which encompasses an octave, or one key short of an octave, F to E. And unfortunately, also what you have to do to test each key, you have to put this metal piece back on this back check of sorts. I come from the old school acoustic piano repair world. So let's lift up here and show you. All right, so this just lifts out, and you see the felt there, which gives rebound. I'm sorry I'm so shaky, y'all. This is really tough. But anyway, it gives rebound to these keys. So if I just play now, these will bounce like crazy. See it bouncing? So it's almost like the back check on a traditional acoustic piano. And so when I go to test my repair, this piece has to go back on, or you can't gauge whether the touch is right or not. So I need a camera person while I'm doing this. All right, so now let's pull the key out, this D. And all I have to do is, let's see if I can show you here, is it pushes forward. See that little bit of play? And then I got to lift it out. I need 2 hands. Let me set the phone down a second. Got to put 2 hands on it. And then I'm going to have white lithium grease all over my phone. All right. So I've pushed it forward, and now it lifts out. And you can see the mess that is white lithium grease everywhere. And I'm going to set this off to the side. I feel like I'm looking through a tunnel or something to do this. All right, now watch. Ugh, what a mess. This actually looks like it might have been one of my replacements. But this is the pad right here. And they just get, man, that one's really chewed to ribbons. That one's, most of them, the stock ones are like a clear, whitish, clearish, opaque color. This one being black tells me it's probably one of my previous replacements. But listen, I play this piano really hard. I really beat it up. It gets beat up because of just simply the environment that it's in. Plus moving around and going on the road and all of that. But look right here. I mean, that's pretty bad. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove another key just to get some room to work. These black keys come out a little bit more easily. We'll set this one off to the side. All right. Now see, okay, there's a healthy one, and that's one I replaced too. So I mean, it's probably not going to last a whole lot longer, but I'm not going to mess with it. for now. The repair is so easy that I have plenty of those pads and I can come in anytime and do it, so no biggie. Alright, so all I'm going to do is scrape this sucker off of here. And I can tell you right now, this is definitely one I put on because they're way stickier and harder to get off. The stock ones come off pretty easily, but it's coming. You can see right there. So scrape. There's plastic under it, so you have to be pretty careful not to mess anything up. You definitely don't want to slip off and hit the circuit board below. But I can do that and stick to it and pull it up. Oh, I just stuck it to the circuit board. There we go. So that's the old, very wrecked pad. And there is the clean surface I'm going to stick a new pad to. And I will probably, well, it's pretty clean, but I'm going to go over it with alcohol. But that's what makes the sound. Those little, let's see if I can see the blue rubber pads underneath there. Let's see if I can focus in. Those can crack and go bad. They haven't on the Kawai so far, knock on wood. You can see right in there. But I have Roland keyboards I have done and redone. In fact, that one under the cover right there is a 1988 Roland RD300S that I have rebuilt 2 or 3 times. And some of it's been those rubber pads, and those things are getting harder and harder to find. But anyway, so I'm gonna scrape a little bit more gently, very gently. It's just like, it's like goo, like you're scraping off the goo from a price tag off a product you buy in the store or something. And if it feels pretty clean to my fingernail scratch, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm going to hit it with some 91% isopropyl alcohol here in a second. That stuff is strong. It will it'll do damage to some surfaces. This is okay. It'll just get it very clean. All right, so let me set you down a second. This will be out of focus and weird for a minute. Let's see if I can find something to hold you up, though, so you can at least see a little bit. Sorry, y'all. But there are some diehards on YouTube that I know wanted to see this, so I'll go that way. I have a infinitely adjustable kind of a gooseneck stand, but didn't bring it with me because I really didn't plan on doing this video. This should be interesting. Yeah. Alright, you won't see much, but this is just temporary while I do my little alcohol deal. A little paper towel. Yes, I know this is a long video, although the trend is towards longer videos. Back when I was popular on YouTube, when I did Lynyrd Skynyrd guitar licks, which was the reason I befriended Ed King from Lynyrd Skynyrd, and may he rest in peace. Recently passed away, but also my Dave Matthews video and lead guitar solos for Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits, and what else? Listen to the music by the Doobie Brothers. Anyway, those were pretty popular videos, and the some of those, the Skynyrd one, for example, is hundreds of thousands of plays, and it actually took me places. It created friends in high places for me in the music business, interestingly enough. So that video, the Skynyrd video, was 9 years ago I made it. 8.5 years ago. 9.5 years ago. 2009. June of 2019 would be 10 years ago. And then my son got cancer that same year, and we had a whole lot of upheaval in our lives from that and some other things, and basically everything fell apart. So I basically fell off the YouTube radar, just getting this goo cleaned up. Nothing exciting. Y'all are just having to hear my stories for right now. So I basically I disappeared off YouTube. I did a few more videos, you know, as you can see on this channel. I'm also considering, I'm very into motorcycles, and I'm considering a motovlog channel, although everybody's done a motovlog and everybody's sick of motovlogs. But mine, I want to come from the unique angle of showing how motorcycle riding has contributed to the raising of quality of life for my autistic son. My autistic son who had cancer, leukemia, ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Part of his amazing comeback was through motorcycle riding. And I've got a passion for especially vintage motorcycles, especially vintage dual sport and adventure motorcycles. And I have a lot of desire in wanting to do some restorations of vintage bikes, to include him in those, to teach him life skills like engine rebuilding and whatnot, simultaneously teaching him those life skills and making videos out of it, making a video channel. Is that ever going to happen? We'll see. Let's hope so. But a whole lot's going on. A whole lot. But this is just on my Steve Hacker YouTube channel for music. Alright, so I'm taking, make sure this can be seen, these pads that I showed you earlier, and I'm just going to tear one off. Man, I'm sorry that I can't get in focus here. Torn one off. I'm peeling the backing off of it. Just peel off back like any other sticker. And here it is. I hold it. And I'm going to stick it on there, and it's invariably going to go on crooked. I have a amputated, reattached fingertip, so I don't have really great dexterity. But it's going to go on here, and then before it sets, I'm going to try to slide it around as best as I can. Actually, that went on pretty straight. A little bit crooked. Kind of drag it with my fingernails, what little bit of nails I have. If I start doing a lot of videos like this, I'll actually have somebody doing camera work or a real stand. Alright, that's on there. Now what you'll notice right away when I put this key back is that it will be level. I'm going to need two hands again. There we go. So right there, and then get it in the hole and push it back. And it's level and it's got a good return to it. So let me put the black key on now. It hooks, those hooks go underneath, and then drop it down and slide it back, and that's really that easy. Now that clicking, that clack, 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 is because that rail is not there. It's pretty irritating. So you see again, see the extra bounce. So I have to put you down again, and I have to put that metal rail back to test my repair now. So hang in there. Sorry for the blur, sorry for the pause. But hopefully somebody will learn something out of this. I actually am good with video editing. I know how to edit good videos. I've done music videos for people. I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst. But this is quick and dirty. This is just get it done and get it out there so people can see what's going on. And I just dropped a screw, and I'll have to chase it down later. No doubt went under the piano. But one is enough to do this test. Reminds me of one of my favorite video channels, Mustie1, M-U-S-T-I-E-1. This guy's one of my heroes. He has a series called Will It Run? He rebuilds lawnmowers and cars and motorcycles, which is what I like. Generators, all kinds of engines, and he takes machines that are absolutely positive would never run and makes them run flawlessly, like new. And there's a whole lot of times when he drops screws like I just did. He has to chase them down later. So if he drops screws and gets away with it, I guess I'll have to as well. All right, so, but that metal rail is back. And so there's the key in question. You see it's got good return, and that repair is done. Now, doing it with one hand takes extra time, of course, but that's the way it's done on those low keys. I've got maybe one or two more down in the bass end that I'm going to look at. They're not dropped yet, but they're still, the response, the return on those keys, the repeating action is not great. So I'm going to look at those. Most of them I've probably done, I don't know, 10 or 15 already tonight before this video. So, you know, hit me up with comments, like, subscribe. Maybe I can get back to doing regular videos again someday. Stay tuned if I do a new channel with regard to motorcycles and moto vlogging and teaching my autistic son how to wrench on motorcycles, and just good riding videos, teaching him how to ride and stuff. And feel free to comment and ask me questions about this repair. Again, real quick, the answers to the questions after the last video. The white grease is literally just white lithium grease from the hardware store or the auto parts store. These pads, I don't know how easy it is to get them anymore. I've had these for 4 years or so from Kawai. I don't have the email address right offhand, but if anybody needs it, I can probably get you the email address for the parts manager directly to get your own Kawai parts. And what else? Again, the last video for this piano from 3.5 years ago talks about that white 3/4 inch wide weather stripping, 1/8 inch thick. That still, by the way, 3.5 years later, is still flawless. It's perfect, no problems whatsoever. So I'm real happy with that. Seems like everything's going well. So hit me up with questions or comments if you have to. For whatever reason, YouTube doesn't always give me notifications. I don't always know someone has commented and asked me a question. I promise you though, if I see the question or the comment, if I know it's there, I will reply to it. I just don't always know that it's there. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. Everybody take care. See you next time.